Here comes Clark. How will she go for history? There it is!
Kate Martin wasn't a quiet entry into the WNBA. When everything went wrong, she was the player who understood just how to win. Was speaking on the phone. However, something changed between Iowa's last 4 runs and the professional ranks. The impact subsided, minutes vanished, and the player Caitlin Clark, who had previously been trusted amid chaos, was now observing from the sidelines. How, then, could a crucial component of a championship-caliber run suddenly disappear? Furthermore, and more crucially, when she doesn't want to remain that way, what happens? Iowa existed before Vegas. Oh, comprehend what Vegas took. You must comprehend what Iowa provided Kate Martin.
Because what happened at Carver Hawkeye Arena between 2020 and 2024?
It was a cultural event, not just a successful college basketball program, and Kate wasn't standing on its periphery. From the inside, she was keeping it together, say freshman at Iowa, Caitlin Clark. Kate had already arrived and was grinding.
Dennis don't keep posting up, but you know who they go to. 22 from the outside.
Already performing the unappreciated labor that keeps a roster cohesive. Kate herself will attest that she wasn't exactly rolling out the first welcoming mat. When she learned that this high school star was averaging 40 points each game, her first thought was pure skepticism about competitors. Whoa, this girl believes she's going to take over the world. That was the idea. Then, when Caitlin arrived for the preseason, she began doing things that Kate had never seen a player accomplish. The range was ridiculous, T was a supernatural vision. The assurance was unwavering as Kate observed it. She made a choice that would determine their careers. She didn't resist it. She gave it fuel. Most folks overlook that portion when discussing the growth of Iowa. Indeed.
Caitlin was the supernova. The logo threes, the viral moments, the record-breaking scoring nights.
Bound fever. Caitlin pulls top of the key. Good! And she falls down to her left.
Caitlin, that was all. However, supernovas require surrounding structure to avoid burning the entire area down. The framework was Kate. The offense flowed because of her as the connection. The defender who endured the most. Matchup to free up Caitlin's energy for the things that really counted. The leader with the ability to look at Caitlin in the eyes during a break and tell them to take a deep breath. Everything will be all right, and genuinely believed because she'd shown up for years and earned that trust, that exercising together and developing a long-lasting connection. Beyond the courtroom, Kate referred to it as relationship equity. You can't simply approach a generational genius and tell her to cool down. If you haven't worked hard to earn that voice, Kate did so every day in the gym before everybody else during filming, when the remaining members of the team had left.
In conversations about life and pressure and identity that had nothing to do with basketball but had
everything to do with Caitlin's trust in her during the most critical moments. Additionally, it was visible on the ground. While Kate was scoring 13.1 points on her final 4 runs in 2023 and 2024, Caitlin was going crazy on national television. And almost 7 rebounds every game. That stat line isn't a sidekick.
Martin putting it on the deck, spinning inside, and finishing! Kate Martin wants this!
It's a second engine. Because she was familiar with the shooting pattern, she was smashing the glass on each Caitlin miss. Alright, she was physically adjusting screens to the point where full driving lanes were vacated. She was reading defensively. That prevented Iowa from losing games while Caitlin was resting or getting into foul trouble. They were more than just teammates. They functioned as a system. And a national title was almost won by such system. Watch that 2024 Final Four matchup with South Carolina. The one in which Iowa destroyed an unbeaten team that was thought to be unbeatable. It's the best moment, according to Kate, of her career, and you can see why when you watch the tape. She was all over the place. Players are boxed out 4 inches taller than her, blocking passing lanes, and making transition shots when South Carolina's defense was recovering quickly after yet another Caitlin Blast. One player did not win that game, a collaboration won it. And neither of them anticipated how that cooperation would be put to the test. It's not a player issue.
When the Las Vegas Aces drafted Kate Martin, it looked like the kind of situation that could work.
The Las Vegas Aces select Kate Martin, University of Iowa.
A team worthy of a title, a successful culture. Everywhere you looked, there was veteran leadership. On paper, Kate was entering a setting where she might gain knowledge from the greatest and establish a career doing precisely what she accomplished at Iowa. The unseen labor that truly enables talented rosters to perform on paper. It was logical.
Off paper, it was a disaster. The Aces were not built to develop rookies. They were built to win now.
One of the most powerful players in the league's history, Aya Wilson was the focal point of every scheme. Optimizing her influence was the focus of every rotation and minute of game preparation.
Chelsea Gray controlled the offense with a veteran's precision. Becky Hammond coached with a hierarchy that was set in stone before the season even started. There was no flexibility in that machine.
There is little space for a young player to try new things, make mistakes, and develop during the unpleasant process that transforms collegiate brilliance into expert production. Kate quickly discovered that. She was playing about 20 minutes a game on average in May, which is reasonable for a novice picking up professional pace. She was making occasional contributions and finding her niche, carrying out the activities that had always made her valuable. However, those minutes did not increase as the season progressed. They contracted. She was reduced to 11.5 minutes per night by September. Her point total fell to 2.6.
Defense from Kate Martin. Can she score?
Down to 2 to shoot. A 3 just...
Her rebounding dropped to 1.6. Additionally, you may witness it happening in real time when you watch the footage from that section. Time. The player's body language, hesitancy, and waning enthusiasm as they begin to question whether she no longer even owns the court. Any remaining thread was severed when the playoffs came around. 3 minutes in 6 postseason games.
3 minutes across an entire postseason. That is not a development plan. That is not a rotation decision.
Without using words, that organization is informing you that you are not a part of the future. You are pieces of furniture. Until something better happens, you are just a body occupying a roster space. Kate has handled it with elegance. In public, she dismissed her annoyance, referred to it as a business, and claimed that there were too many skilled participants. Shut doors. However, consider how that experience felt on the inside. She sat there with each game, a towel on her lap, witnessing veterans acquire every significant item, every pivotal moment, and every opportunity to demonstrate their worth. Because she was never given the chance to show anything, she was unable to do so. Her confidence suffered every time she ran scout team reps during practice rather than developing her own game. Not worthy. The player who had supported a Final Four team emotionally was being treated as though she had existed. The worst thing was that it had nothing to do with her skills. It was entirely related to where she touched down.
Sue Bird has talked about this exact problem. The jump from college to the WNBA is brutal.
Not only because the game is more physically demanding and faster, but also because everything depends on where you land. Even if you are gifted, resilient, and have a high basketball IQ, if you find yourself in a system that doesn't accommodate you, it doesn't have any space to breathe. Kate put it bluntly. People are unaware of how difficult it is to score in the WNBA. She discussed the strength, length, quickness, and intellect of seasoned defenders who had played professionally for 10 years. She claimed that basketball had never impressed her more, that the game is easy. However, this does not make it simple. She wasn't offering justifications. She was articulating a reality that struck her like a wall each and every time. Day in a structure that never once assisted her in overcoming it in Las Vegas, Kate Martin was successful. She was let down by Las Vegas.
Here's Martin, and she gets the 3.
And when everything changed, she was just about to allow that failure to define who she was. The call that made all the difference. When things became unclear, Kate Martin did what she always did when she was at her lowest point in Las Vegas. She gave the person she trusted a call.
She called Caitlin Clark. This was not a casual check-in.
This was not two pals joking about the past and catching up on life. This served as a lifeline. Kate was laid to rest. She was having self-doubt. She began to consider the possibility that the WNBA might be too much for her. That perhaps the athlete she had been at Iowa was a different version of herself in college, to the level of a professional. For athletes, such kind of mentality is toxic, and it was becoming more widespread. Caitlin was coping with her own adaptation in Indiana. From the beginning, The fever had put her in a terrible situation, and the stress of being the most watched rookie in league history carried a burden that most people are unable to comprehend. Every game was televised nationally. Every poor shooting night made headlines. Every physical infraction sparked a discussion on social media for days. Caitlin was familiar with the feeling of being overpowered by a callous workplace. How excellent you were in college.
First, this one.
Caitlin Clark!
However, Caitlin broke through the clutter as soon as Kate told her what was going on in Vegas. She didn't express sympathy. She provided clarification. She revealed to Kate what no one in that ACE's organization seemed to be willing to publicly state. The issue is not you.
The situation is the problem. Caitlin reminded her of what they had built in Iowa. The trust, chemistry.
She reminded Kate that her presence made everything around her tougher, wiser, and more difficult to defeat. Things helped her succeed in college, including her leadership, toughness, basketball IQ, and unrelenting hustle. Just because one team doesn't know how to use them doesn't make those items any less valuable. Caitlin then revealed something to her. That caused the entire frame to move. Give up attempting to survive somewhere that doesn't recognize you. Look for the location that does. That was the time. Not a huge discovery, a speech that is not dramatic. Just one friend informing another. Friend the truth when it was precisely what she needed to hear. According to Kate, following that discussion, it no longer seemed like a failure to leave Vegas. It began to feel liberating.
And when the Golden State Valkyries selected her in the expansion draft weeks later,
Kate Martin from the Las Vegas Aces, now a Golden State Valkyrie, and joins us now live. First of all, congratulations, Kate.
Being unprotected by the Aces did not devastate Kate. She felt relieved. She was thrilled, and a single word, she explained it. Possibility. Rejected and then appreciated. If Las Vegas was the incorrect setting at the incorrect moment, the opposite was true in Golden State.
the Valkyries were not an established machine with a locked rotation and a veteran hierarchy.
That made no space for fresh arrivals. They were empty pages, a recently established franchise creating its own identity from the ground up. And Kate Martin is precisely the kind of player they needed. From the first day, the change was clear. Kate entered a team in Vegas that already understood what it was and didn't require her assistance in defining it. She entered a team at Golden State that desired her presence, leadership, and voice. Foundation.
On the court. Kate coming up with a block.
Head coach Natalie Nakase had studied Kate's game closely, not just from the limited Vegas minutes.
However, Kate's influence was evident on the Iowa tape. Nakase was cultivating an effort-based culture, basketball intellect as well as communication. Stars who required the ball every possession were not what she was searching for. She was searching for players who improved the lives of those around them.